Today we're talking about my Pocket 4K camera rig. So yeah, let's do this. What's up, YouTube? I hope you all are doing well. If you're new to the channel, my name is Anson. Today we are talking about my Pocket 4K camera rig, and we're going to talk about some common issues with the Pocket 4K and how this rig helps those issues. So let's first talk about the core of the rig. Everything is based off of a Tilta full cage. There are a couple of components that just stay on the rig. I normally don't take them off. One is going to be a small base plate for the Nucleus Nano. It does have a mount that holds a 15mm rod, and again, that primarily stays on the camera at all times. I do have another mount up at the top for a 15mm rod, but that's primarily when I use my Sigma lens, just because I can put a longer rod on it. But I don't like keeping that longer rod on the rig just because it can obstruct wide angle lenses. So I put that on the rig whenever I need it for the 18 to 35. So that stays on there. Another thing that stays on the rig is a small rig NATO rail. That's gonna be for the side handle that we'll talk about here in a minute. So you have the NATO rail as well as the Tilta HDMI mount, and then obviously everything is based off of the Tilta full cage. So that's the core of everything. So with that, let's get into what I use for stability. Now the first thing I use for stability is I do use a Tilta top handle. This is probably one of the reasons I went with Tilta. Tilta is a little bit more pricey, but one of the big reasons I went with Tilta is because of the quality of this top handle. What I love about it is it has almost like a dual mounting system. Basically, you have the mount that goes on the cold shoe, and that in and of itself most top handles have, and it clamps down. But when it clamps down, it actually clamps down and it screws into a 1/4" thread as well. Just that added security. I've had top handles fall off, and so when I saw that this was a thing, I went for the Tilta system. And the way that it's helping with stability is I can hold it up at the top handle here and just let gravity do most of the work and kind of just guide the camera along. So it keeps my hands off of the camera, which ultimately is going to help alleviate some micro jitters. So you have the top handle, and you may notice I have my monitor mount up here. That's on there because I can't get it off. I put it on, I was excited, I like slightly crammed it on, and now it won't come off. So yeah, I'm glad I like it. So I'll go ahead and address it now. This is the mount for my monitor. This is the small rig tilt and swivel. Most people have this. It's pretty standard to hold your monitor on a Blackmagic rig, so I picked that up. I've been really happy with it, other than the fact of I can't get it off. All right, so the next thing that's gonna help with stability is the Tilta side handle. Now this specifically is the Tilta side handle that holds the NPF 970 and has the capability of controlling a Nucleus Nano. I believe it also controls a Nucleus M. We'll talk about here in a minute why I went with a larger version, but I also went with a Type 2, and that is primarily because when I'm using a side handle, I'm also using this top handle, and so I want it to tilt slightly. Type 1 and Type 3 are both pretty much hard mounted to the cage. This actually uses a rosette connection, and it's using a nicely rigged rosette to NATO rail connection to mount it to the cage, and so I can easily take it on and off as well as tilt it. So that's a huge benefit for me. So I have the side handle and the top handle for 2 points of contact. So that's creating some stability. This rig and the size of this rig itself is also creating some stability. Now I will say that this is a smaller rig compared to some other people that fully deck out their rig. I wanted something that was kind of like a mixture between minimalistic as well as a little bit more hefty for stability. And so as you start seeing some of this stuff on there, you'll see that it gets a little bit larger, but it definitely could be bigger if I wanted it to be. So for stability, again, I have the top handle, side handle, and that brings me to the power solution I have for the Blackmagic. The reason I have the larger side handle is because it does hold an NPF 970, and it's definitely there to power the Nucleus Nano, but you can plug this into the main power port of the Blackmagic and actually charge the Blackmagic off of the NPF 970 battery. So that's why I don't have a huge V-mount battery on here, which also allows me to use this beautiful, awesome display. And if you want to use the NPF solution, which in and of itself is the more budget conscious solution for power with the Blackmagic, but you also want to save some more money, Both Tilta and Small Rig make an NPF plate that you can actually use a 12-volt out that will also plug into the main power port of the Blackmagic as well. So that one's about $30 if you do want to save some money but also use the NPF solution. Another reason why I love this side handle is because it also houses my storage solution for the Blackmagic. It is currently holding my Samsung T5. I do have the 500 gigabyte version. I'm not doing big projects where I may need the terabyte version, but this side handle gives me the ability to mount it directly onto the side handle, alleviating the need for bulk at the top of the cage, which I did originally have it mounted to. And so this was a very pleasant upgrade to be able to have my power, my storage, and everything all on the side handle, as well as some added stability and the ability to control my follow focus. So this to me was a little bit more expensive, but well worth the investment. Another part of my rig is the monitor that I'm using. I am using a standard Feel World MA5. I've actually done a review on this monitor. It doesn't have like all the bells and whistles of some monitors, but it does do the job. It has things like false colors. It has focus peaking, some of the things you need to kind of just nail focus. Really just gets the job done, and that's why I have it on there. And it also allows me to get low shots with the Blackmagic, because no matter how beautiful and amazing this display is, there's no tilting. So if I want a low shot, I'm using the Feel World MA5. So my monitor solution is the Feel World MA5, and it is using an NPF battery as well to power that. Now to also help with stability, one thing that I do is I try to get my hands off the camera and lens as much as possible. And one thing that makes that possible is the Tilta Nucleus Nano. Now you don't have to go for the Nucleus Nano. This was actually a birthday gift for my wife. And so you can save some money by going with the non-wireless version, but it was a birthday gift, so I was like, yes, please. So this goes right onto the 15mm rod, and currently it's being mounted against a Canon FD 24mm f2.8. I feel like I said f too much there, but a Canon FD 24mm f2.8. So that's what I'm using. I love FD lenses. I do have some slight cine mods for this lens. I did a live stream on how I do my DIY inexpensive cine mods, and so I'll link that up here in the corner as well. But those cine mods consist of rubber gear rings, as well as a step-up ring and a mini matte box adapter, which leads me to the next item, which is the Tilta mini matte box. And so that is what I'm using for my matte box solution. I like this matte box. It is small and compact. Do I need a matte box for what I'm using? Probably not. Most of my stuff is in controlled lighting. It does do a good job of cutting out unnecessary light when I'm using it, and of course reduces glaring, but ultimately it's probably on my rig because I just like the way it makes my rig look. Let's be real. Now obviously there are things like cables. I'm using a right angle cable. I'll put some links below. I'm using the Samsung T5 cable that came with it. I started out using the Tilta cable, but by process of elimination, I realized it was actually giving me some problems. When I would go to record, it would act like I needed to format the drive or it wouldn't recognize the drive. And so to eliminate any variables there, I tried to use the supply cable, and that seemed to actually fix the issues. And so I probably need to reach out to Tilta to get that replaced. But that is what I'm currently using for the SSD. Now I will say, if you're trying to save some money, get the complete package of the top handle and cage. Don't pull a me. I didn't think I needed all the components that it came with, but I ended up getting all those components anyway, so save yourself a couple of dollars and just buy the full package. Obviously, this is a little bit more pricey. They do make some smaller versions of this side handle, but if you want that power and mount for the SSD and everything all in one, definitely look into this. Now, if you don't have Nucleus Nano, you can probably save some money there as well because you don't need the follow focus version, which is available. So that's my rig, what I'm using, why I'm using it. If you have any questions about any of these components, or if you want to see individual reviews for any of these components, let me know in the comments below. But that's it for me. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. If you're digging the overall content from the channel, consider subscribing. And as always, thank you for joining. Go and find your journey. Go embrace life. Stay safe. Be happy. Wash those hands, and I'll see you here next time. Peace.